Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. We're going to continue with the invasion of Egypt, but I thought we'd take a quick look around the map and see how things are going. How's Japan doing? Okay, well, they still have this southern front here, which seems to be tying up more enemy troops than it's tying up Japanese troops. So they're taking some losses. Still driving into China here. They can cut off this peninsula. That's where I would be trying to hit there. What's terrain like? Yeah, they'll hit there and drive and cut off this peninsula, and then kill, create a pocket, kill the units there. Now down here, with Italy doing, they've lost there. This is cut into them there. If they're able to run supplies, then they're doing a little better. We're fighting in there, fighting here, winning fairly well. And we're still up here in Norway. Messing around. Guys are heading home to get another couple of panzer divisions. Probably another light infantry division. One here, let's keep moving. Okay, we've lost a Totenkopf Standard. Being men. Okay. Yes, we want to activate heavy panzers for the SS. Ah, Osterkamp's birthday. Very interesting fellow, Osterkamp. World War I vet. I'm not sure. Well, First World War 32 victory, so that's definitely an ace. But if you look at the badge that he wears there and here, put up there, and the uniform from World War I, he was a naval flight officer as opposed to a army. Early on, it was an army officer. And so I saw, looking up this, there's back of Osterkamp, and that's Mulder's, and of course that's Adolf Galland there doing the Hans fighter pilot. I just thought that was just such a classic picture, so I just had to create an event because it was on his birthday. So interesting stuff. Obviously by this age too old to be an active pilot, but that doesn't mean you can't, as a fighter pilot, can't be a trainer, a leader, that kind of thing to really bring along pilots, stuff like that. So saw this ad, some examples of period boot polish. Erdal, gotta keep the boots polished, the leather ones, and if you don't, actually, sort of funny, but spit and polish and bright shiny. But also, if they're polished well, they will resist. Leather boots will resist wet. So, no, not at the moment. There's group mid. Yeah. Afraid they're going to block. And our seaport levels thing. So just excuse me, 0.2% better money and resources. But still, that's nice. Ah, yes. SS Reich Division. Das Reich. So we've lost. So the Vergun's Truppe, if I'm not butchering too bad, my German viewers, has been removed, and officially this time it's now disbanded. It's no longer a thing. It's now Das Reich. Yeah, so send it down. I've started getting ready to assault Gibraltar. It's under SS Keto here. So we have this other command. So joint bit rich. Rise to HQ. It's a battle group artillery. Yeah, fairly decent. Good for fighting these front. These guys will help us when I get ready to. I already have this Panzer General Command. That'll disappear here real soon, at least it should. They've got only 2 garrison divisions, but those will be nasty, I believe. They're retreating up. They're going, see here, look, they're going the wrong way. March, counter, march, disorder. I'm doing some logistical bombing here because this is sort of their weak spot there for infrastructure. They've got to hold Alexandria, because without Alexandria there is no other ports. There's no infrastructure here or somewhere along here that will cuts that off. So they will have no ports. They will run out of supplies. So they've got to hold it. That's very true. But since it's a fortified city with anti-aircraft guns and other things like that, that's why I'm not bombing it at the moment. They should be able to hold that and try to use some of their greater numbers to come in here and flank me and require me to garrison all these internal things, because if it's like this here, I can look at it, they can swing around me and cut these troops off, but they just haven't been able to do that yet. I'm going to secure another port here, deny them air power by taking this, and we will hold a good portion of the Levant. So they're making a mistake if they're withdrawing there. Okay. U-boat sunks. Event from GGA, doing graphical augmentation. This is to simulate German radio intercept company that they had here. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. Up there, and it was one of the fairly good electronic intelligence intercept operations of the war. Done. This is simulated by giving radar station Rito Caprosa. So yeah, so you can see that we now have a radar station. The bad thing about this is the British were to capture this in a seesaw battle. They then have it. Okay, build an oil refinery. Okay, 10,000 supplies. Well, we have 40,000 looks like there, so 12,000 money. That's one of the reasons we have that. Until 42. October 42, 5%. I'm going to go with this. Conf group GAF. Maybe that created it for Italy or something. Fall of Cairo. That, okay. Probably there. Some of the option was for it to go to Italy. I'm guessing that maybe it doesn't seem to be here. Is it just the SS? Oh well. I would prefer to have control over it because I know I would use it well. We're down. See, they're already down to one garrison across to get Alexandria there. That would be nice. Okay, yeah. We're playing around up in Norway here. Support attack, yes, that's what we want to do. Won this battle. Well, now they're coming back and around. Well, okay. Wait till those get back. I'm thinking about doing another localized airdrop. Okay, massive assault tactics have advanced. As well, depth charge. Okay, we've got that. That's going good. That's too soon for there. Since we're running a lot of light boats, we'll do that. Well, actually, you know, let me check here at cruisers. Yeah, we should do that instead. And tactical pilot training is advanced. Switch it to ground, bro. We're still sneaking back in. Still can't believe we somehow were able to get around from not having that doom stack attack us. Okay. We're going to put them into the aircraft there. We'd be able to support that attack there, so I think that's where we're going to go. Sit there. attached to a more component structure there. Paris should be able to help with the city fighting there. I'm gonna keep forgetting about moving forward with these guys. Gotta be like Rommel, gotta move fast, forward, constant, keep them off balance. Okay, you've done what you've done. We've reduced their ability, and we've also done what they've done over there. They're gonna strike me here. Another attack. Okay, motorized support unit. What am I looking for? Oh. Here. That's it. Yeah. We'll do that. Siwa was the place, it's an oasis out here. It was the only place where the Egyptian army ever fought the Italians or Germans, because they were very much on the defensive. World War I artillery pieces and things like that. All their heavy stuff outdated, and you know, their basic rifles were the Enfield. But they did a defensive battle against some element of the German, or some element of the Axis forces. Siwa. I think it was Siwa. I think it was Siwa. Huh, maybe wrong, but I think it was Siwa. As you may know, there were significant elements of the Egyptian army that were sort of kind of pro-German. Yep, see, here we go. I'm getting around me like this. I don't like it. They just don't have much in the way of heavy equipment to deal with the tanks. Now here, the wheel moves. And that moves. Okay, yes. How much longer without our colonies? That's what this sign, or poster with the Africa. Black Arab soldier. That's the early symbol for the Deutsches Colonial Geheim, whatever the. So interesting. Just basically an event to prod players who are playing with Tanganyikans involved. Think about moving south. Okay, radar training has advanced. That's good. So we have some competency level with radar. Yes, we want to do that. How badly are we red, if at all? No, not at all. Cool. And motorized SSHQs advanced. Do that. And this will give us HQs. That is not going to be pretty there. That's going to work out because they're going to shatter. That's going to work out, I think. Okay. I need to move fast down here. And we need some more forces here. Numbers do count. Just click all the way through and put him in here. Okay. We based Port Said. Avoid any British we happen to see. They can get dug in, but they won't. Okay. The last flight of Rudolf Hess. Hess was a very interesting person. The Thule Society. I think that's pronounced the way it's pronounced, though I've also heard it pronounced Thule Society. The Thule Society was a, and I'm working on another mod to go into this, was a mystical society that has a little bit of connection to the Theosophical Society, but mostly it's taken that some of those religious things, foundations, taken by Guido von List and a few other people, and radicalized and changed to some weird German philosophy. And there was this whole Guido von List society. Alexandria, I'm talking too much here, but mystical society there. There were a movement going in Germany in the late 19th century, early 20th century. They were radical German, radical extremist, nationalist, if you will. Had anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic type beliefs as well. A few other things like that were going on at this time. One of them was the Thule Society. There's a clear poster from 1919, I think it's dated. I don't know that that's when the society started or when that's the society sort of more formalized or started to publicize itself. Members of that society formed the Deutsches Arbeiterspartei, the DAP. I think they did it because they realized that power was shifting from the elites in Germany, the Kaisers, the King of Bavaria, and all these other aristocratic type elites, to the masses. And this society the Thule Society wanted to control and dominate and to pursue it. So I think they created the political movement because they realized that the masses were going to be the key, no longer the elites. I think. Now, I don't think there's much formal written documentation on this. I'm taking this from what I've read, and some people's suppositions. But they formed the DAP. Well, of course, Corporal Hitler was assigned to observe the DAP, and he found a home that he liked. And the DAP had already been using the swastika, but he put the circle and the red field and all that stuff around it and really sort of formalized it. And thought national and socialist should go in front of the DAP to sound better. We're nationalists, we're socialists, all this stuff. And because I don't think the original members of the DAP, the founding element of it, were what we would normally think as sort of classical workers types. I think it was all just a bluff, a manipulation of titles and things like that. And so they became the NSDAP, or the Nazis. A member of the Thule Society before, it's my understanding, this could be wrong, I don't know how formal it is, and people who've done better research may know, but my understanding, a member of the Thule Society before they started the DAP and he became active in the DAP was Rudolf Hess. I believe that Hess was set up to be Hitler's sort of keeper or observer or whatever for the Thule Society. I think he was, to be sort of, watch this new guy, watch this guy. Well, Hess, I think in essence, to some degree, betrayed the leadership of the Thule Society and became a devotee of Hitler and no longer, well, he was, throughout his life, he was a mystic. And I don't think he ever abandoned those belief systems, but I think he transferred his loyalty from the elites in the Thule Society to Hitler. But what I'm trying to get at here is, we talked about it a little bit on the page. We can talk about nationalism and socialism and workers and Germany and a political party and all that kind of stuff. And that is not what the Nazis were about. That's the surface manipulation that the Nazis were about. They weren't the core of the Nazis, the leadership and the indoctrination that they very much put on the nation of Germany, and is still going today, was a deeper element. It was, they wanted to maybe call it pre-Christian, but it was anti-Christian. It was other things about that. And so, you know, we can talk about, you know, this is why I see a clear distinction between nationalism, sort of somewhat modernistic, far-right pragmatism, because nationalists in different countries have different policies based on what's the reality of the situation. Fascism, which is sort of right-wing nationalistic socialism, but with the realization that the profit motive isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's founded by Mussolini, who, you know, parents were socialists, he was a socialist until he had his change of heart, if you will. And so those two political ideologies are sort of, you know, economic, social, organizational, structuring kind of ideologies, you know. So you could be a Buddhist and be a fascist, or you can be a Catholic and be a fascist, or you can be a Protestant and be a fascist. The true heart, in my opinion, of National Socialism is this extreme worldview, is based in, you know, Guido von List and some of these other extremist ideologies, and so it goes beyond any sort of social and economic organization in the sense of, oh, should we have a democracy, or should we have a dictatorship, or should it be a monarchy, or, you know, beyond any of that stuff, and beyond, should all the state own, the government own all major economic industries, or should it all be privatized, or should some of it be, you know, the state should control it, or should it be free market? You know, those are all things that people and you know, we can look at, and, you know, I have my personal beliefs of what's best, and then other things that may work and may not be best, but they work. So I'm sorry to go into sort of all this, but this sort of prompted it. Various, you know, social and economic organization systems that can be found under nationalism and under fascism. And then you have National Socialism. And that's why it's a step above. In many ways, it shares sort of economic and social structure, governmental structure, if you will, elements with fascism. And this is why everything from Paradox and Hearts of Iron 4 to General Socialists have just wanted to lump all of the right-wing elements as all sort of the same, all the same. They're not, the fascists are just like Nazis, or no, they're not. There's this, you know, I'm not a fascist, I'm not trying to defend fascism, but they don't have that, this complete dark heart at the center of their ideology that the Nazis have. They just don't. They don't have that. And we can get into my feelings on communism as well, but they just don't have that dark, you know, the other right-wing elements don't have that dark heart that the Nazis had. And, you know, the Luftwaffe pilots and the General S.A. Brown shirt guy, they don't necessarily have that dark heart either, because it's something that has to be, you know, manipulated through propaganda, through various things. So they may have bought into, because the reason I say Luftwaffe pilot is the Luftwaffe was a National Socialist organization, very much so. Don't have that, necessarily have that dark heart already into them and put into them. The SS, and if you look into it, to continue to be part of that organization, you had to adopt that dark heart. You had to go completely dark into it. So, you know, not all people that joined the Nazi Party were evil or anything like that, so I'm not trying to say that. But those that ran this organization, that set this up, they were very clearly. Okay, that's sort of the ideological preaching for the moment. Okay, so we're back to, so we gain foreign descent and we lose Rudolf Hess. Now, so in a game historical general sense, Rudolf Hess, of course, had his worldview, which I was just talking about, but he also had his sort of view of what the world was, and through various Nazi-like organizations had contact with similar elements that were in Britain. And he thought that the British were more like what he wanted the world to be than they were. Got to remember, Rudolf Hess, where was he born? Alexandria, under the British. You don't know exactly how long he lived there. Just don't know. Did he leave at 2 years old and never really realized it, or did he grow up there till 7 or 8 hours? I don't know. But he was born and just happened to be here in Alexandria. So he had somewhat of a long-standing connection with Britain. So he thought that he could, at this time, do a deal with these elites in Britain to get rid of Churchill and settle the world settlement between Germany and Britain, and it would all be fine. And so I think because he was being more and more marginalized within the German hierarchy, and he wanted to do something, and so he may have also been manipulated by some of these occultist elements into doing this, into thinking that this would work. So I don't think he was mad in the sense that he had some brain aneurysm or some delusion of, no, I gotta go, you know. I mean, he was mad because long-standing, long-term, like Hitler and the other guys. But I don't think it was some brief madness. So off he goes. Which we have this, which will... It's okay. Deutsches Theater, German language theater, also. Yeah, do that, I guess. Okay, well, we're going to end this episode here, just we've been talking and going there too long. Thank you for viewing, and thank you for putting up with some of my ideas and things.